Saturn in the ninth house. And if you know your time of birth, only then you can see what house position Saturn has. And you can go to my website, birth chart calculator at astrolada.com. There is a direct link here below this video, so just click on it and enter your time of birth, place of birth, and you'll get a chart like that. And if you happen to see Saturn here, it's indicated by the letters SA in the ninth square, in the ninth sign from the ascendant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is when Saturn is in the ninth house. Or also the same matters if you see Saturn together with the ninth numerical number, which is the ninth house cusp. So the ninth sign is very similar to the ninth house cusp. It just sometimes the ninth house cusp might be here as well, you know. So if Saturn is even here, but with the ninth Roman numericals, or even here, again it will have the influence of Saturn in the ninth house. Or sometimes Saturn can be just here without any Roman numerical number, but as long as it's in this square, in the ninth square from the ascendant, it will have the influence of Saturn in the ninth house. So what is it here? Saturn shows past life karma, something that we've done wrong, or that we've been done wrong in the past life, that we have heard there, that we have disconnection from there. And the ninth house is the house of belief system and spirituality and God. So it's very likely that in past life we were in some kind of very strict spiritual or religious order, which kind of externalized God, which made us approach God through rituals, through keeping of some rules, rather than through connecting through the soul, through the spirit, through the heart, experiencing God internally. So such people often suffer disappointment from God, or disconnection from God, disconnection from belief system, disconnection from, even if they were not spiritual people, there was some kind of a disappointment with life, and they kind of disconnected from the moral and ethical principles of life, because God is the rules and spiritual rules and principles and moral and written rules that rule the universe. This is what God is. So we had some wrong connection with those in the past life. Maybe we trespassed those laws and unwritten principles. Maybe we disconnected from God. Maybe we disconnected from faith and hope in life, because ninth house in astrology rules hope and faith. And hope and faith comes when we are connected, when we feel meaningful, often when we have some spiritual belief system in the good of life, or strong moral ethic. And usually when Saturn is in the ninth house, it shows that we made some mistakes there in past lives, and in this life we come to work very hard to straighten, to correct this karma, to straighten it and to improve on it. And it usually comes after a lot of hard work. The person has a lot of desire, a lot of fears connected to that house. So and a lot of disappointments in the first 30 to 35 years of age. Often when Saturn is in the ninth house, people from young were maybe indoctrinated to either total atheism with no belief to God, because Saturn denies whatever it is, no belief to a higher spiritual life, or through some very strict authoritarian religion, very old traditional one, very restrictive, very punitive, that says like you burn in hell if you whistle, or if you have sex before you have marriage or something. Very strict, or very kind of almost giving fear of God into the heart of the person. And often a person feels disconnection at some period in their life to God through those moral principles. They start doubting the existence of those realms, or they start having the need to explore the truth, to find the simple truth, not something complicated, something that is, they have a great need to make this reconnection to higher power again, to beliefs in their life, to some principles, even if they're not spiritual, to some moral, ethical principles and codes of behavior. And usually later on in their life, they return after some period of lack of faith or disconnection from, you know, from the sense of purposefulness and of religious beliefs. They return back later in life after having thought a lot about it, after having worked a lot on and researched a lot of belief systems usually, and philosophical thought systems and moral and ethical thought systems. They return back to a more traditional expression of spirituality, to a more maybe ancient. Such people, they have a lot of strong interest in ancient knowledge, you know, because ninth house is the house of all kind of knowledge. Ninth house is the house of self-knowledge. The ultimate self-knowledge is when you reconnect with God, when you discover your divine potential. But that's very, very abstract for a lot of people. So such people have a strong thirst and desire and need to learn knowledge, but they are afraid of it as well. So there is like a delay in them for them finding their true belief system. It takes them, maybe it's a grand work of their life to find what they believe in, to find moral principles. And often such people might be, while for others something is totally self-evident, you know, like that if you cheat, for instance, you will, it's something that, you know, for these people with Saturn in the 9th house, such kind of a principles and laws, they might be, especially in the first 30 years of their life, they might have to find out about these karmic laws and principles that rule the world through the hard way. You know, they're somehow disconnected to this intuitive knowledge of what is the right thing to do. And they find it again by researching, by reading a lot of spiritual, philosophical books, because they need to work on that, but it's given to them slowly only. They regain faith and hope and purpose and meaning in their life later, and actually the older they get, the more dedicated and loyal they can become to some spiritual practice or moral belief system of acting. Also, as I said, often these people might have doubts of their information, of their knowledge, because 9th house is higher knowledge, and also or education. Higher education might be denied to them or delayed, which Saturn likes to do after, say, 30, the age of 30. Or if they do it earlier, it proves to be a place of a lot of hard work, so much responsibility that sometimes it feels overwhelming for the person having a higher education when Saturn is in the 9th house. But they're usually very low and hard working, whatever Saturn is, so they succeed into it. Again, as I said, this is one indication, because 9th house is the house of the mind. So when you're disconnected from the light, from the higher wisdom, from faith, from hope, all those higher principles, or even from morality, what Saturn tends to do, it might incline a person to be have a bit more bouts of depression, bouts of doubt, bouts of kind of meaninglessness in life, you know. And even though when they're looking and searching for God and meaning and jumping from one belief system to another, or trying, you know, not jumping, but researching those, trying to understand them, they might still feel disconnected from that truth of those systems within themselves. And finding God for those people, it's the labor of their life. It's the, you know, it's a no sudden revelations, no, you know, all of a sudden angels appearing to them, mystical experiences. It can happen through a lot of self-discipline and hard work. And Saturn, the house of Saturn, shows where you develop more self-discipline in your life, through what areas. And there it's through your in your search to God, in your search to meaning, in your search to finding meaningful ethical and moral systems. And such people often later in life can start clinging to very strict moral and ethical principles. Ones that, for instance, believe that, you know, maybe more austere, maybe more, you know, belief system that they can see. This also shows how you see God, and such people see God as the fearful, more strict father, who, you know, will punish the children or bring karma back when you don't do something right, when you lie or when you steal, whatever, you'll be punished. So they can tend to develop highly moralistic and austere attitudes towards themselves, and very strict ones. Also, even if you're not a spiritual person, this is the 9th house, how you view life, how you understand life, the rules of life, the moral principles of life. So such people might feel like life is very tough, you have to give your hardest, and life will punish you if you don't work hard enough. Or like their belief system is very Saturnian, very kind of a pragmatic, expecting the worst, or expecting a very self-punitive, self-punishing, self-critical. And they have a similar picture of God. I have this position as well, so, you know, they can feel very guilty when they do something wrong. And such people can become extremely moral with age. You know, this is one of the positions which can make them like keepers of social and moral and ethical rules, almost to restriction to, you know. And in worst case scenario, this can show that people have very dogmatic beliefs, very, restrictive, or, if you don't marry whoever I tell you, you will, God will punish you, or I don't know, something like that. Or they believe that life is very strict and everyone pays back, they believe a lot in karma and what you do comes back to you. And in the best case scenario, it shows people who have very simple understandings about the truth, about the laws of the universe, about God. For them, it's nothing too complicated, nothing too much. It's more connected to the old traditions. Such people, as I said, they spiritually connect much more to all the ancient religions, all the ancient spiritual beliefs and sources of knowledge. And the ninth house on the mundane level represents father figures, teacher figures, guru figures. So usually in the first part of life, till 30, till 35, sometimes the relationship with the father can be more painful. He might be strict, he might be severe, quite punitive, critical father, or he might even be missing, because Saturn can separate you from something. So the father might be missing, or can be quite painful relationship with the father. You have past karma, past life karma with fathers and teachers, which you work only slowly through. You might have more relationship based on fear with your father, and fear or father who is, when Saturn is in Beta sign, it will be a father who is very hardworking, who is very traditional, conventional, who teaches you discipline. The father will be strong disciplinarian figure as well, and teaches you very Saturnian principles of hard work, of practicality in life, of working hard in order to achieve what you want, not expecting things to fall into your hands, these kind of Saturnian qualities. And I think that's it. So the biggest lesson, the biggest difficulty for these people is to stay connected, to find meaning in their life, to find purpose, to follow. When they find a goal, to stick with it. And actually the best way to work through Saturnian issues is actually to have a career which is Saturnian, because it guarantees that at least 8 hours a day you'll be doing Saturn type of things, 9th house Saturn type of things. So people with Saturn in the 9th house, they work through those issues, sometimes might become spiritual leaders, might become like Osho, I think he has this position. They might become teachers, like I think I am, they might become educators in some way. They might become religious figures or university professors in some way, but always in the later part of their life. So this is not a very difficult position, but it's a very important one, because having a connection with a higher power, reestablishing a correct connection and a correct belief system and a correct moral and ethical system is so important for these people. Otherwise, they'll always feel a hole in their life of disconnection and feeling of, purposelessness, without purpose, life without purpose. They need to find this in their life. Thank you.